I grew up during World War II.
Mhm.
I was born in 1937, so let me think. I did that 5, 6, from 6 years old to like 8, maybe 10.
Yeah, like, were you ever, like, scared of anything going
No.
on? You were,
In my family, we were never raised to be afraid of anything.
yeah,
My mother thought of everything as a challenge.
yeah,
You know, coming to this country at 18, same with my father, he was younger. There was nothing that was ever beyond them. You know, immigrant families live in the same neighborhoods together. Our neighborhood was all Irish
yeah,
because that's what they were comfortable with.
yeah,
You know, they all went to the same church. We had little Irish stores, you know, bakeries and grocery stores and everything.
Did you live at the time?
I lived in the Bronx,
Okay.
and we lived in a section called Throg's Neck.
Mhm.
And that was only about 1 block in from the Long Island Sound.
Mhm.
And at the end of our street was a Coast Guard station. And so we had a lot of, what's the word I want to use? Blackouts and such, because at night the troop ships would go up the Long Island Sound and out at the top, which was up toward Rhode Island, and go across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And there was German U-boats on the other side of Long Island that they had to be very careful of. So we would have to put out our light, like we had air raid wardens that would be outside, you know, with bullhorns and stuff, telling us when to dim our lights. And we would sit in the dark and listen to the radio, which was a little tiny radio, of news telling us about the war.
Yeah.
And this went on all through the war, which was like ended in 1942, like 1944, you know,
Mhm.
those few years, 1944 it ended. Yes, they had a draft for World War II, and that's how they got everyone.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. That's when women really first started going to work because
Oh, yeah.
there was no men.
What kind of work?
They did everything. They built ships, they used to call that, they would have these posters. And, you know, they had they called her Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
And you'd see her building, I'm not sure what, it was an airplane or something. Everyone felt very, very patriotic.
Mhm.
You know, not like during the Vietnam War or some of the others, or like what's going on now.
Mhm.
Everyone, I mean, if you had a son or a daughter in the military, everybody was so proud of them. You just loved to see somebody in uniform.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it was because we were fighting the Germans and the Japanese.
Yeah.
But as children, I can remember, and the country was really into rationing. You know, everything was for the war.
Yeah.
So there was like certain foods you couldn't get.
Like what?
Well, like things like luxury items like butter and sugar and, you know, and the government gave you like little coupon books.
Mhm.
And if you went to the butcher, like you had to give in like a coupon to get maybe a little bit of meat, you know, or butter people, that's when margarine really became popular.
Really?
Because everything was going to the soldiers because it was so important,
Gotcha.
you know, and we saved like, I remember we saved things like tin foil off the cigarette packs and off the gum packs and made balls out of them. You took them up to one of the stores and or to the movie theater and they gave them off to the government to do something with it. I don't know what. And things like buying shoes. You couldn't get like leather shoes
Mhm.
because the leather was being used for the soldiers. So
Oh.
you had like coupons and
Yeah.
maybe you got one pair for the year,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh.
And people, if they did have a car, they really didn't get to drive it unless it was for like military stuff. Like my father worked in the Kearney shipyards.
Yeah.
So he had a car, but he only used it to get to work and
Mhm.
to pick up other people along the way, like carpooling.
Yeah.
And so he had coupons just to get enough gas and for tires.
Like family members and
My
whatnot?
next door neighbor did. She had 5 sons in the Army,
Yeah.
and she lost one of her boys over the Philippines.
Mhm.
And everybody that had somebody in the service had like a little flag in their window
Yeah.
with stars on it.
Oh, wow.
Like if you had one soldier in your house, you had like, you know, like 1 million, you had 1 star. She had 5 stars. And if you lost somebody, they put a gold star on that flag. And she was a gold star mother. And when the war ended, of course, there was big parties everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody was very excited. Then after the war ended, things got, you know, all the soldiers came back. everybody was kind of prosperous.
Mm-hmm.
And there was wonderful benefits for the, what they call the GIs,
Mm-hmm.
government issue, but it was the GI Bill, and they could all go to college, and the government paid for it
Mm-hmm.
if they chose, or different things. And, that was their way of rewarding them for serving in the military.